season of EVTV. I'm Jordan.
And I'm Will. There have been many updates on how CHSAA has been operating during these COVID sports seasons. For current information, we go to Alex and Langston.
In the journalism community, there is a difference between news and commentary. While news is all facts, commentary is the reporter's opinion. In today's commentary, we take a look into whether or not the skiing reservation process is discriminatory towards locals. For more information, we go to Sam and Otto.
With the start of B-season sports, CHSAA has made changes and put mandates into place to ensure safety of the coaches and players for this upcoming season.
From what I know, we're going to clear the gym so they can clean everything in between games. And then we're only allowed to have 25 people in the gym at one time.
Changes this season, each day we have to, each athlete, every coach has to do a daily health screen.
And then in between, we're not doing a lot of sanitizing between each match, but between each duel, we have to kind of clear it out. We'll sanitize the mat, all the chairs, everything like that. Try to open some doors to let some fresh air in there.
As far as I know, not allowed to use the locker rooms. Definitely not for like pre-game meetings or anything like that. The kids are supposed to show up dressed out, so they're going to get dressed out before we leave. Because when we show up, we're not allowed to be in the gym 30 minutes before the game, or even in the school, I think, 30 minutes before the game.
Then you look back at our dance team, and they had to stay 6 feet apart. They could never touch, even in their transitions, and they always had to have a mask on. So that's what they had to do in the fall. They've pretty much lifted all those restrictions off of dance, where now they can, link arms to do a kick line or do their moves. They can be closer together. And when they're at the state competition, they can actually remove their mask for the routine and then put it back on. When they're here and in practice and for our halftime shows, they're going to have to wear a mask though.
Most races are individual starts this year. Since we're on skis, we're already more than 6 feet apart from each other at the start anyway, so that's a bonus.
Skiing's a little bit different. Their biggest part for skiing is kind of keeping cohorts of kids together. So when you're riding a chairlift, it's typically with the same person all the time, so you're only around that same person.
We are limited on roster space this year. We've been put on a 12-person, only can be on the bench. And this year it's going to be limited because of the space in the gym.
Besides the players playing, the only ones allowed in are, like if our girls varsity is playing and they play first, our boys varsity can be in the gym in the bleachers.
CHSAA has made it clear that masks are still required, but each sport has different policies.
So they're going to allow 20 on the bench for hockey. When you're on the bench, you have to have a mask on, but when you're out playing, you don't have to have the mask on, which could be difficult. You have a hockey helmet. I don't know how you get to the bench and try to get a mask on underneath your cage.
The main change is that the players are going to have to wear masks when they play, and it's just the breathing factor that they have to get used to. So that might be limited minutes. I know they're putting in more timeouts, so they're going to do a 30-second break in the middle of each quarter to give the kids the time to catch their breath and stuff like that.
We don't have to wear masks during races or while we're skiing in practice.
When they're one-on-one wrestling, they can actually take their mask off. They talk a lot about wrestling's one-on-one, and the matches don't typically take 15 minutes, so they talk about that 15-minute time frame where it's more contagious. But I think there's a safety piece of it in wrestling as well, where you're always reaching around the head, you're doing things. So if you're trying to do a move, you get your finger stuck in a mat or something, you could break a finger.
Because teams have to social distance, CHSAA has put rules in place for traveling to away games.
For a lot of other sports, CHSAA is not setting those guidelines. And really our county health is not setting a mandate with that. They just want us to try to stay as close as we can. Just keeping in mind the most important thing is keeping kids in school. We don't want to shut our school down, so we don't want to travel all over the state and then bring it back here and then we get it all and we shut down.
Buses, we're going to take one bus for the boys, JV and varsity, one bus for the girls, JV and varsity, and then I think the C team's taking the microbus.
They're trying to get us to stay more in local teams instead of going to Denver or Colorado Springs. We're trying to stay right here in the valley in our league.
With these adjustments in place, CHSAA aims for a full sports season and athletes to be healthy and safe.
It's just taken a lot of creativity on ADs and coaches to start making these seasons happen.
This has been Alex, Langston, and Joe.
This season has been tough for everyone. Between the pandemic and the low snowfall, it would make sense that no one would travel from out of state to come to Vail, but that's not what's been happening. This year, before Christmas week, the Vail Daily Occupancy Report stated that more people stayed in Vail-owned properties than last year, despite the fact we're in a pandemic. Since then, occupancy has been about half, but the mountain has been just as busy as a normal year. So it becomes apparent that most people coming to Vail are coming to ski. Most of these tourists are from out of state, which means they are taking planes with people from other states and creating the perfect conditions for a COVID catastrophe. Vail Resorts rewards these tourists with their flawed reservation system. Every person who buys an Epic Pass gets 7 priority reservation days. Priority days mean you'll definitely get to ski that day. Tourists and locals have the same amount of priority days. This means that the tourists, who usually come for only 1 or 2 weeks, are guaranteed to get to ski the whole time they're here. But us locals don't get to ski whenever we want after we've used our priority days. Locals end up stuck at home competing with each other for the other few reservations that are left after all the people from out of state pick when they want to ski. And skiing is the main reason so many people work for Vail and live in Eagle County. Tourists are valuable to Vail Resorts as a company. They are the resort's main source of income, but locals keep the business running. Vail's pushing aside the locals who run their resorts to allow the tourists to come and ski whenever they want, which makes sense in a normal year where everyone can ski. You need to target the tourists in order to help the whole valley. But in a year where locals are working hard to keep Vail open, it would make more sense to allow them to ski on the resort that they are running. Vail showed their true colors this year the weekend of December 12th. Vail received a large snowstorm during the week, so many people were trying to ski the following weekend. For an unknown reason, Vail told all employees and all people with discounted passes that their passes would not work on the 12th and 13th. Since then, many Eagle Valley students have remarked that they aren't able to reserve the days that they are available to ski. Locals are being forced to plan when they ski almost a month in advance, and even when they can get reservations for themselves, there is no guarantee their friends or family will get reservations on that day too. Going forward, we would like to see Vail show more respect for the locals and the people who run their mountain. No more week of blackout days, more opportunity for local students to ski on the weekend, and better efforts to keep our community safe from COVID-19 along the way. These efforts would greatly improve how locals see Vail and how willing we are to continue to work for them and help run their resorts. This has been Otto and Sam.
Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of EVTV. This has been Jordan and Will.